The opening words this morning are a poem by William Stafford. You reading this, be ready. Starting here, what do you want to remember? How sunlight creeps along a shining floor? What scent of old wood hovers? What softened sound from outside fills the air? Will you ever bring a better gift for the world than the breathing respect that you carry wherever you go right now? Are you waiting for time to show you some better thoughts? When you turn around, starting here, lift this new glimpse that you found, carry into evening all that you want from this day. This interval you spent reading or hearing this, keep it for life. What can anyone give you greater than now, starting here, right in this room when you turn around? Good morning. My name is Wendy Pickett, and I'm honored to serve as the worship associate today and to welcome you to worship this morning. Whether this is your first time with us or attending our Sunday services as a part of your regular routine, we are glad that you're here and hope that you will find room in this community for your spirit. I'm very pleased to welcome our speaker this morning, Reverend Charles Stevens. Reverend Stevens is Minister Emeritus of the UU Church at Washington Crossing in New Jersey and the Ellsworth UU Church in Maine. He retired in 2012 and with his wife Allison moved to Blue Hill, Maine. He has remained active as an interim minister, a guest minister, and spiritual director since his retirement. He and Allison enjoyed living close to the earth on their large woodlot. They enjoy their 3 adult children, a dog, a cat, and the many visiting forest creatures. I was a member of the UU Church at Washington Crossing prior to moving to Delaware, and I've been pleased to know and been friends with Charles and Allison for about 25 years. He did a Sunday service for UUCD in our early years, and I'm quite pleased he's joining us again this morning. We continue to be grateful for the technology that allows us to worship together online and to continue to build community in other ways. Thank you in advance for your patience and grace with any delays or glitches we may experience. In addition to our worship each Sunday at 10, we meet on Tuesday nights at 7 for a more informal time of check-in and sharing. Please consider joining us for that gathering. And a reminder to all that the UUCD annual meeting will be held next Sunday, June 6th, at the time of our regular worship service. Details will be included in the e-blast later this week, and all UUCD members should have received in the mail by now some materials in preparation for the meeting. One other announcement, it's not too late to register for the Tool Shed, which begins this Thursday, June 3rd. And that's a congregational collaboration with the AME Church down the street. That will be focusing the next set of meetings on race, law enforcement, and the criminal justice system. Now, I invite you to take a deep breath and listen to these sincere words of welcome. Whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you've been, whatever you've done, whatever your religious beliefs are or aren't, and wherever you physically are on the planet right now, you are welcome in this spiritual community. However you move in this world, how much or how little is in your bank account or wallet, however you are feeling in this moment, you and all of who you are welcome in this spiritual community. We are all enhanced by being together.
Please join me in our chalice sliding. Words are in the chat box. We light this chalice to affirm our unity with all people of all faith who seek the truth and love. May this flame guide us to a deeper understanding of one another. Please join me in our unison affirmation. Words are in the chat box. Love is in the spirit of this church and service its law. This is our great covenant to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth and love, and to help one another.
us far away, for this time we share with love and care. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day. For all gathered here and most far away, for this time we share with love and care. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day.
Today, we have the joyful experience of welcoming a new member into our community. By becoming members, individuals willingly choose to invest themselves in mutual relationship with this particular congregation of Unitarian Universalists. It is in that sense, taking our relationship to the next level. It is a statement, it is a commitment, and it is indeed something we want to celebrate. Rose, you're muted.
Today, we are welcoming Dylan Chase Williams. He has spent some time with us, including participation in a membership class to learn more about Unitarian Universalism and the local history and character of UUCD. He has now chosen, like many before him, to become a member of this congregation by signing our membership book and formally becoming a member.
Dylan Chase Williams, we are so glad to have you with us and that you have chosen this community of fellow seekers to travel with you on your life journeys. Will you accept our gifts of fellowship, discovery, and service? Will you offer us your unique presence, perspectives, and gifts? Will you add your name to the long history of Unitarian Universalists who aspire to spread hope with our living faith? Will you engage with us as we seek to grow spiritually, create a beloved community, and work for real love and justice in our world?
I will.
Congregation, will you welcome Chase with the warmth and comfort of your fellowship? Will you receive his unique gifts, talents, and perspectives, knowing he will strengthen and enrich us? Will you continue to share our triumphs and our struggles as our community grows and changes?
We will.
Well, this is generally the place in our worship where our new members formalize their commitment to the Unitarian Universalists of Central Delaware by signing their names in the membership book, signed by all of the others who have likewise chosen to be a part of this fellowship as members. Today, Chase will be signing symbolically. The actual book will be signed when we gather together in person again.
Now I'm signing my name here. Go.
It is my pleasure to present to you the newest member of Unitarian Universalists of Central Delaware. Welcome, Chase.
Thank you.
It is now our time of joys and concerns, when we offer one another the opportunity to share very briefly what is most on our hearts right now, life celebrations and concerns. As you do so, we invite you to light a candle in your own space. Through the action of sharing and kindling a flame, we give energy to our best thoughts, meditations, sympathies, celebrations, and prayers. We hold these as sacred in our collective hearts. If there's anybody new today, which I'm not sure if there is, please feel free at this time to introduce yourselves if you'd like. We welcome you warmly and would be pleased to light a candle in honor of your connection with us and whatever joys or concerns you carry in your hearts. So at this time, everyone should change your view to gallery view in the upper right-hand corner of your screen so you can see everyone who is here. And as you feel led, unmute your microphone and share your joy or concern and light your candle if you have one. You can watch the mute signals of each person's video stream to see if anyone else is unmuted. It's best if we share one at a time. So please mute your microphone after you have shared. I'm lighting one final candle for the joys and concerns that were not spoken by those of us here, and in solidarity with others in our community who could not be with us today.
As Unitarian Universalists, a central part of our worship, both in person and online, is the opportunity we all have to practice the art of generosity and the spiritual practice of gratitude. Our gifts to our congregations are what allow our communities to live into our calling and mission. We are grateful to you for many ways you support our community, including your financial pledges and offerings. Your gifts matter, and it's one of the ways that you make this world a better place. Thank you for your passion and your generosity. For those who are making pledges or who want to contribute to UUCD, please visit www.uucd.org and click on the Support UUCD button for more information on how to donate online.
When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we trust the wisdom in each of us, every color, every creed and kind, and we see our faces in each other's eyes, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we tell our story from deep inside, and we listen with a loving mind, and we hear our voices in each other's words, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we share the silence of sacred space, and the God of our heart stirs within, and we feel the power of each other's faith, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is
Good morning. My name is Charles Stevens, and I'm delighted to be with you helping lead your service this morning. And for our centering moment, I'd like to pause and begin that centering moment by ringing my singing bowl. And to share with you a poem by Jane Kenyon, Otherwise, on this Memorial Day weekend, as we contemplate all those we hold in our hearts, their memories, their lives. Jane Kenyon wrote, "I got out of bed on 2 strong legs. It might have been otherwise. I ate cereal, sweet milk, ripe, flawless peach. It might have been otherwise. I took the dog uphill to the birchwood. All morning I did work I love. At noon I lay down with my mate. It might have been otherwise. We ate dinner together at a table with silver candlesticks. It might have been otherwise. I slept in a bed in a room with paintings on the walls and planned another day just like this day. But one day, I know it will be otherwise." I remember Memorial Days, parades, picnics in a small town in northern Wisconsin, but especially I remember being at the graveyard where my parents now lie interred. That is because I played the trumpet. First, I played taps as the echo at a distance where no one could see me, at a distance from the actual Memorial Day ceremony. Then as I got older and better at the trumpet, I played taps at the ceremony itself. It's important to remember those who have died, serving our country, and in general. But also it's important to remember the hundreds of thousands who died this past year as a result of COVID-19. Death is a wise advisor, but it's easy to get busy and to get distracted with the daily tasks of life. Case in point for me, we had a new house built when we moved back to Maine. Now, never having done this, making the hundreds of choices and working with a contractor we found challenging was something else. Now, we feel privileged that we were able to do this, and we're thrilled when we were able to move in and enjoy living here. But during the first winter, we discovered there were a number of leaks in the roof, around the skylights and around the chimney that you can see behind me. I called the contractor and he responded, "Oh, well, that must be caused by the solar panels you had put on your roof. So it isn't my fault." Well, we had learned that that was his fallback excuse whenever we had a question or a concern. But then I pointed out to him that the solar panels were put on the south-facing roof and all the leaks were on the north-facing roof. My first reaction was to feel anger, frustration, and annoyance. What's going to go wrong next, I wondered. But then I stopped and I focused on something I've been thinking about since I retired, especially now that I'm in my 70s. You see, I have been pondering life and death. my personal life and death. So I ask myself, how important are a few leaks in the roof that the contractor eventually agreed to fix? They may be coming back, but still, in light of my pondering, it really wasn't such a big thing in the larger picture. So on this Memorial Day weekend, when we honor and remember those who have died, facing death has a way of putting things in perspective, be it facing the death of someone close to us, or even facing our own eventual death. Now, being deeply involved in a caring faith community all of my life has helped prepare me for facing many issues of living and even dying. Over the 50 years of my ministry, I've conducted many hundreds of memorial services. And I have come to fully agree with Carlos Castaneda's character, Don Juan, in his book, Journey to Ixtlan. In the story, Don Juan tutors Carlos. Carlos comments that he thinks it meaningless to dwell on death because it only brings discomfort and fear. To which Don Juan replies, "You're full of crap. Death is the only wise advisor that we have." Well, Don Juan sure didn't beat around the bush, did he? Now, if I become depressed and discouraged because of some problems with my house, or for that matter, with anything else, death, as Don Juan reminds me, is an important advisor, a wise advisor, and laughs in my face, challenging me to get real. 22 years ago, when Wendy Pickett was a member of the UU congregation I served in New Jersey, I was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Well, that was a real slap alongside my head. Suddenly, I gained a completely different perspective on life. Until then, I had confronted some major disappointments in my life: a divorce, the death of my father, and the death of my mother, and my wife Allison's mother died. I had sat with literally thousands of people facing their death or that of a loved one. Still, there's nothing quite like being told that you have a terminal illness with only a 20% chance of survival. Suddenly knew I could very likely die. I felt more aware, more present, and alive than ever before. I looked at things differently, and I have ever since. Usually we go about our daily tasks filling many different roles. We're doing more or less important things: growing up, getting an education, leaving home, earning a living, making and breaking friendships, as well as more intimate relationships, creating a family, establishing a home, and all the time dealing with numerous minor and major setbacks and disappointments. You may have heard of Pema Chodron. She's an American Buddhist nun, and she writes, "All anxiety, all dissatisfaction, all the reasons for hoping that our experience could be different are rooted in our fear of death." Fear of death is always in the background, she writes. Nevertheless, we work hard to keep our fear of death way in the back of our minds, even behind our emotions. We desperately want a sense of control in our lives. I do, don't you? Our culture encourages us to deny the reality of death. It even encourages us to not deny the reality of aging. The fear of death is so strong that we have all sorts of euphemisms to avoid even saying that someone died. We say the person passed or passed over. The person went to a better place or went to be with God or to live in heaven. Perhaps we just say they kicked the bucket. We fear death, and we fear that in the face of death, we will feel a sense of utter hopelessness. Now, during this time of pandemic, which we hope is coming to a close, at least for our country or where we are, we've been surrounded by illness and death, and the constant news that emphasized over and over the dangers of being infected. We become discouraged and overwhelmed with fear, and it still isn't over. Yet hope and fear are two sides of the same coin. The false hope that we should abandon is the mistaken idea that in security, that pain and death can be avoided or possibly ignored. Pain and insecurity, along with death, are all part of life. The hope that we will find security from difficult challenges and discouragements, and yes, even death, is, we know, a false hope. A Zen master said that life is like getting into a boat that's just about to sail out to sea and sink. Well, that seems pretty harsh. But the not so secret fact of life is that we need to live with insecurity. We need to live knowing that there will be occasional leaky boats, if not leaky roofs, and yes, even basements full of water. The discovery of a leaky roof, the reality that no job is perfect, and that nothing will last forever is part of life. When we're aware of that fact, that everything is impermanent, we have met Don Juan's wise advisor. Now, after I dealt with having cancer, I studied spiritual direction at the Shalem Institute in Bethesda, Maryland. I still do spiritual direction by Zoom now. One of my mentors there was the Dr. Jerry May. Jerry was one of the founders of the Shalem Institute, the Institute of Spiritual Direction. He wrote a number of books. His last book, The Wisdom of Wilderness, he wrote while he was dying. Now, I was fortunate to be an adjunct staff member with him at Shalem during that time. I remember seeing Jerry become less and less mobile as he came closer to death, but he never lost his zest for life. In the first paragraph of the preface of his last book, Jerry wrote, "I'm sick now. The prospect of my death is continually before me. My body is frail, my energy always at the edge of exhaustion. At the same time," he wrote, "I am wilder than I've ever been before. My soul basks in the wilderness, and I am grateful." Well, Parker Palmer, a friend of Jerry's, said, "Imagine a sick, frail, exhausted, dying man who says he's wilder than ever before," which in Jerry's case is saying something. Wilderness, Jerry wrote, is not just a place, it's also a state of being. If happiness means being happy and sadness means being sad, then wilderness means being wilder. The meaning of wild is natural. Being wild or natural means being close to one's true self, one's true basic self, who we were born to really be. There can be a great sense of relief when we realize that something we have often heard but rarely take to heart is actually true. As the Hebrew scripture, paraphrased I might say, states, "We are brought from the dust, and to the dust we return." When we think about it, 70, 90, or 100 years can seem like a day that has passed. As a watch in the night, we really are consigned to sleep. Like grass, we are fresh in the morning of our birth. In the morning of life, we sprout, we blossom forth like the spring flowers here in northern Maine. But then in the evening, we wither and we fade. Our days do decline and they end as a sigh. Therefore, it is essential for us to value our days, to hallow each with grace as a trust bestowed upon us. To do so, we will acquire a heart full of wisdom, a love for the living of the earth, and even a bit of wildness. Even though we might suffer for days, even though we might sorrow for years, in the past pandemic year, we still can rejoice and be glad. We can give thanks for this precious gift of life. Let us respond by living for the good each day. Now, I believe we can live that way. A wise advisor and a good, powerful motivator is what helps us face death. True, we can remain fallible and we remain limited. We slip into being less aware, less alive, less grateful. That's when we need to ask ourselves, what would I do if I only had a few months to live? There's the old movie, The Bucket List, starring Jack Nicholson and Morgan Freeman. It was funny. The movie also gave many people the impulses to write down lists of things that they wanted to do before they died. Now, we don't all want to skydive or climb difficult mountains, but I surmise that almost all of us have put off doing things we have wanted to do all of our life. Maybe it's something as difficult as trying to enter a new career, study another language, take singing lessons, or reconnect with an estranged friend or family member. Our list might include something as simple as taking a daily walk, growing more flowers, going to museums or plays more often, or writing a note to someone we've neglected for far too long. Phil Ochs, a political activist and protest singer, wrote, "When I'm gone." He's saying, when I'm gone, I won't feel the flowing of time when I'm gone. All the pleasures of love will not be mine when I'm gone. My pen won't pour out a lyric line when I'm gone. So I guess I'll have to do it while I'm here. We can start right now. Over the past year, we've known a great deal of illness and death. May our experience help us begin to live more naturally, maybe even a bit more wildly. It is a fact. Each one of us will die. I'm not saying we should relish that thought, but to deny the reality of death is far worse. And so is our habit of avoiding even thinking about death. Death, we can do that by staying busy, so busy that we not only can't contemplate death, but can't even contemplate living. Phil Ochs also saying, "And I won't feel the flowing of time when I'm gone. All the pleasures of love will not be mine when I'm gone. My pen won't pour out a lyric line when I'm gone, so I guess I'll have to do it while I'm here." We ought to ask the question posed by the character Emily Webb in Thornton Wilder's play, Our Town. Emily died but returns after years and sees her family as a child within her family. And she tries to talk to her mother but can't be heard. Finally, she asks, "Do any human beings ever realize life while they live it?" What better question to ask ourselves on this Memorial Day weekend? We live so timidly. We don't seem to understand that we each have a limited number of days and years. Now, being timid keeps us from fully living the one life we have. Being timid keeps us from realizing life and relationships while we're here and alive. What possible good does this timidity accomplish? We might feel safer in one sense, but we'll never explore our life, the life we need to live, the life we've been given. It really is later than you think. All of history flows up to this moment. You and I need to open our eyes, open our minds, and open our hearts to the wild and wonderful beauty and wonder of everything. May it be so. Amen.
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
For closing words, I've selected a poem called The Circle by Wendell Berry. Within the circle of our lives, we dance the circle of the years, the circles of the seasons within the circles of the years, the cycles of the moon within the circles of the seasons, the circles of our reasons within the cycles of the moon. Again and again we come and go, changed, changing, hands joining, unjoin in love and fear, each giving into all. Only music keeps us here, each by all the others held, in the hold of hands and eyes, we turn in pairs that joining each to all again, and then we turn aside, alone, out of the sunlight gone, into the darker circles of return. Within the circle of our lives, we dance the circle of the years.